All right, so, well, we've got a part two to the whole leaflet thing, so I guess we're gonna have a look-see at that, it seems. Leaflet tried to respond to me, but it's too late. Obviously, we know this is bait, right? This is a ref video. He's probably gonna go over more, shit that Leaflet probably received. That is at least my assumption. Anyway, we're gonna go in. Also, please consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you so freaking much. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And even if you just watch, still thank you. I appreciate it. We're gonna go in. I'm curious, right? We're gonna go in.
Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So in this video, I'm going to be responding to the blue-haired VTuber Leaflet. She had the absolute audacity to make a response video to my very good criticisms of her. Now, of course, in my video, I was listening to the great, insightful commentary of so many terminally online Twitter freaks, and she couldn't handle it. You can see her response video, basically waving the white flag of defeat. It is titled, "It's over for me." And that couldn't be more accurate. She is completely cooked. And it pains me to say that because I have enjoyed Leaflet's content for many years. A lot of you guys enjoy her content as well. We have a big audience overlap. But you know what? I stand on my principles. And when terminally online Twitter freaks raise great criticisms against her, I have to sit down and listen.
The most fantastic criticism that you could ever imagine, of course, right? The greatest criticism, such as the poor. Think of the poor artists. Well, the poor artists want $1,000 from me for the art. It does not include the rig. The poor artists don't even want me to commission, but they get mad if I use AI. Well, I am not using AI, but like, right? Just the idea, right? Maybe I should use AI just to piss off these people. Just on Twitter, of course. I wouldn't use it to make direct content. Whatever. Either way, we're gonna continue. I don't know. It's just interesting to see these people have an absolute meltdown. But there were also plenty of people supporting Leaflet, so there's that, of course, right? There were a lot of people supporting her.
And they really exposed her, especially on the topic of AI. This has been a trending topic on Twitter for literally weeks at this point, and Leaflet is someone who not only provides commentary but also produces AI related content. And yeah, she's been exposed, caught in 4K, and that's why she's been trending on Twitter for quite some time now. And when I made this response video, everyone understood that she is finished. Now, of course, here's one of the comments from my video. I want to make it very clear, I'm being facetious in my commentary so far. This is a joke.
Obviously, if you couldn't tell, this is a joke. This is obviously a joke, right? If you fall for this, weird. Either way, yeah, it's honestly, it's almost scary, right? Almost sometimes you really think, oh god, what got into him? But all fine, everything's all right.
Joke. Okay, people are very mad at Leaflet for providing free to use AI tools to help VTubers get started, to give them free assets to work with. And since my video, people have continued to rage at Leaflet and the subject generally. And I think this series of interactions really sums up this entire discourse. You have someone from a suspended account who is telling Leaflet to off herself for using AI, while also bringing up Neurosama, where of course they say she is different and creative, and then accounts who have me blocked are then saying that Leaflet is jealous, and they don't really understand the difference between Neurosama and other users of AI. Now, this all kind of just boils down to people being mad about any sort of use of AI and really using Leaflet as a lightning rod.
Oh no, it's AI. Ah, that's kind of cute. That's kind of cute. Okay, fair. That's kind of adorable. Okay, that's adorable. Oh no, it's AI. Wonderful. Yeah, it's AI. Scary, huh? It is. It is definitely scary, isn't it? Either way, I guess we'll just I suppose we just continue.
For this related controversy. And here's some of the comments from my previous video where there's very important points being raised. Number one, being too employed for this situation. Understandable. But a lot of people also very excited to see their Oshi and one of their favorite VTubers, Leaflet, being talked about and trending on social media. But I like this comment down here saying, I myself am not too much of a fan of using AI for this, but I do admire that Leaflet's making this as an alternative, especially since there's so many artists that refuse to work with folks that have different political views. I'd say more, but I'm not too good with wording stuff. But you know what? They make a very good point, and that's kind of the main takeaway of my previous video, and what Leaflet was responding to in her video. There's a lot of artists out there that won't work with you for your political beliefs, or if you engage in wrongthink, or they overcharge you in general. And Leaflet is
They overcharge. They would actively, right? And that's something that's really important, right? So for one, obviously they overcharge. They have the great ideas. I don't know how they get them, but they have them, right? Where they will actively even consider writing weird ass shit into their TOS, right? They will straight up just write for some odd reason. I don't know what they are thinking or if they even are thinking at this point. They are writing illegal stuff into technically their TOS, right? Because once you sell something, you cannot revoke the use of that, right? Obviously, right? That makes sense. Certainly. But they are doing that, which is very interesting, honestly. That is very interesting, but they are doing that, and it's just... It's odd. It's odd. That's all there is to it. It's odd.
providing a free to use
What else do they do? Ah, yes, they struggle to even finish their commissions. They take too many commissions. Did I mention overcharging? I have, but regardless. They cannot keep deadlines. None of that shit. And then they also, right, will, instead of focusing on their business, they would much rather have you, what's the word? They much rather would not work with you, but then they complain about your use of AI, but they don't want to work with you. It's like, it's odd. It truly is an oddity.
tool that allows people who are trying to get into the VTubing scene something to get them going without any sort of a price tag. And it's making not just virtue signalers, but so many artists extremely mad. It all began with this post where she is providing a program that will create a bridge between PNG tubing, just using a still image, and live 2D. And people went berserk. A lot of VTubers, a lot of artists, not very happy, saying a lot of very disparaging stuff. But I think this one right here is really funny, where basically an artist admits that they're going to reduce their prices as a result of what Leaflet is doing. More on that later. But here's one of my favorite responses that I covered in the previous video, where this VTuber says, "Soulless piece of trash is what I think this is. Even if your excuse to use generative AI is I can't draw, there is so many..."
Oh yeah, that one. It's like crazy, right? Why is it always the people with absolute horrendous models? I'm just... Of course, my model isn't a piece of art, right? But, at least it ain't ugly.
Custom models you can get for dirt cheap. And in her...
The problem is that nobody wants custom models. For one, a lot of custom models have already been through controversy. That's the first thing. The second thing, there's issues with branding, there's issues with, right, you can't create a merge of it, so there's that, right, you can't do that. So even if you are on a lower end, but you do eventually get to a point where you would have the budget, you'd have to rebrand eventually, which is or isn't damaging, depending on, right, If people don't like your model, right? That's the first thing. That can be quite annoying. There's obvious issues with commissioning artwork. Like, there's just, in my honest opinion, there's mostly really just downsides to actually getting a pre-made model. There's mostly just downs. Like, it's nice, like as a starting point, but eventually it's just like, nah.
Response video leaflet would say this, a little haiku provided by her.
Winter for artists. I can't draw, but I can dream still. Put fries in bag. Put fries in the bag. Thank you.
Now, AI could never reproduce the content that Leaflet is producing right there. But anyways, we saw a lot of virtue signaling, including
Fries in back you must put, young Padawan.
follow policing, where other VTubers are saying, if you support this sort of stuff, I'm going to unfollow you, or you should unfollow me. And follow policing people is
Follow policing is gay. Well, thank you and welcome to my TED Talk.
the biggest Weenie Hut Jr. hall monitor behavior you'll ever see. It's really pathetic. But this user in particular, after virtue signaling about AI, would add a response since my video saying, AI bros in my comments sucking each other's D's, LOL, just because I said I don't like it, and that it's garbage, takes zero skill, LOL. Well, I'm glad that the progressive woke people on social media are now resorting to calling their critics homos as an insult. We've gone.
Yeah, we're kind of, maybe this is dark woke. Maybe this is the dark woke they're talking about, you know? Maybe, what do I know? Maybe this is that so-called dark woke. You know? Maybe it is. Maybe it actually is. Maybe it is that so-called dark woke. Anyway.
Full circle, you know, maybe we're waking up on the internet and this stuff is now becoming a little bit more digestible, but yeah, they're not sending their best. But anyways, here is some more responses that really highlight the work that Leaflet is doing. So upon reflection, this user says, in light of this, I decided my customizable will be $30 US. I was already going to price it low for the market, but I want to show new VTubers that you can make it in this community without even $100 US. This is pitiful, not going to lie. And of course, Leaflet would respond saying, nice, it's working. Capitalism ho. Honestly, if they make a really cool model for new VTubers to use for a low price, and it's great, then people can have more choice, and I'm satisfied. Winning. It's very funny to see this happen in real time, where she comes out with this free-to-use asset that'll help wannabe VTubers, people who are aspiring to be VTubers, get started for free, and some artists are saying, you know what? In light of this, even though
It's like kind of hilarious. That does less sound like you want to do something good, and it sounds more like you feel threatened by a free alternative, right? It sounds more like you're threatened by it. Like at any rate, it feels like somebody is kind of threatened. That's just me, but that's what it looks like, right? It looks like somebody's threatened.
I hate it, I'm going to severely reduce my prices to make this more accessible to people who need it. This is a win. She's already won in many regards, ladies and gentlemen. Mission accomplished right here. One person has already slashed their prices to compete with what Leaflet is doing. Excellent work. But this is really just reflective of what Leaflet's been doing. Sitting on Twitter, making her post, promoting her program, and letting people see about it, and also responding to some of these wackadoos. where you can see this response where Leaflet is quoting a now suspended account saying, in quotes, AI should be used for what we want and only what we want. We are the arbiters of what it should be used for, whatever it is that benefits me and the people I like only. I don't care about anyone else's jobs. If you don't agree, you should game end. Yeah, so you can only imagine the original response, but luckily people provided the context before that account went down, where they said, okay, but I am doing that. No, dude, I need you to realize that you're so effing pathetic that you're choosing a robot over the human race. Oh, these clankers. There's never a better reason to off yourself, LMAO. And in response to people criticizing that point, they say, Kay, you're still pathetic for supporting AI. Very nice stuff. So basically,
To be fair, they only care about AI. To be fair, they only care about AI when it affects art. They do not care when it affects writing. They do not care if it affects like programmers. They do not care if it affects anybody else, right? They only care about art, and that's the only thing they care about, right? That's the only thing they react to. That's the only thing they give a shit about, right? Everything else is pretty much irrelevant to that, right? They don't care about anything outside of that, right? As long as it's just art, they're gonna hang their balls out to dry and be happy.
these people who are ranting and raving about, we need to support humans, not robots, they turn around and tell humans to off themselves because they're using AI. They're treating human beings like they're garbage and not understanding why people are turning to cheaper alternative sources that won't tell you to off yourself for your preferences when it comes to creating content.
The AI generated image, the AI, right? Not the image, the AI will not murk me because it doesn't agree with me. Or wish me death because it doesn't agree with me. I know, this sounds crazy, but it's the truth.
Of course, you can see people defending the user who told people to off themselves over the situation. This user saying, people are saying you are not an artist or a visionary / art creative for throwing prompts into a program and them generating it for you. They are right. You can have your little AI slop maker, but stop deluding yourselves into believing you care about artists and the discipline. Well, I don't think Leaflet really said any of those things. But then again, you look at the accounts who are saying this stuff, trying to defend thy honor of the person telling someone to off themselves over AI usage. And, well, it's a dedicated Asmongold hater who literally branded their accounts with his image.
That's like, I would consider this to be the ultimate win, is it not? Like, I would consider this a victory, isn't it? I would consider this a victory, like absolute derangement.
Many such cases, as we'll see. But also, you look at their account and they basically say Charlie Kirk was not a victim. Again, many such cases. But Leaflet, among others, raise a very good point. How do these very staunch haters of AI feel about Neurosama? Of course, you have Beetle, who was using AI to have this VTuber, Neurosama, provide content. There was a human being involved, but ultimately it involves AI, where Neurosama is learning and growing and developing based on AI breakdowns of chatter interactions, content, all sorts of things. And when you raise Neurosama in this context, a lot of these virtue signalers just...
Yeah, they just, their brains stop functioning, right? Their brains stop functioning. For the most part, their brains stop functioning. Reason being, now their argument falls flat, right? No matter how you try the twist and turn it, right? Yes, Beetle puts a lot of work into Neurosama, right? But, you know, no matter how you twist and turn it, it's still an AI, and you said, we need to focus on people and not clankers, machine, the AI. So how does that work with what you believe? Oh, it doesn't because then you're going against somebody who has a considerable number of like a considerable amount of followers, and then it becomes a problem.
Completely go haywire. They don't know what to do. In fact, you can see this person saying, I refuse to quote retweet the person who made the AI VTubing software. This is such a spit in the face to artists slash riggers who put their all into making models for people, all the hours spent drawing slash separating the art, to all the time rigging to make sure the angles are perfect FAI. It legit makes me so mad as someone who does both. This is so crappy because this is just another way AI is trying to take precedent over real artists. And Leaflet would quote them saying,
It's interesting because we all know, right, for a fact, right? We know, right, for a fact that this person is using Twitter. We know for a fact, right? Right, since this person is indeed using, again, this person is using Twitter. This person is probably using YouTube. This person is probably using Twitch. All of these have some form of AI. The only time you do not care, and you don't care about that because it's not about art. But it still replaces people's jobs. You're just afraid because now your job is on the chopping block. And you don't particularly like that. But you didn't fight for other people's jobs, so how does that matter? Right? How does that matter?
I'm so sorry, Neuro. They hate you. And then this Ruby, I guess, are they a rigger? They are. They're an artist slash rigger. They would quote themselves without actually interacting with Leaflet saying, obviously this reached the AI bros. But it's sad watching y'all sit here and support something that is actively hurting artists. Neuro, the VTuber, is also
Were you talking actively speaking out for programmers? Were you? Were you speaking out for writers? Were you speaking out for people that work in support? Were you speaking out for those people? I don't think so. Again, just panic now because you're on the chopping block. And trust me, content creators aren't safe either. Eventually, it will just be the first AI, essentially the first AI YouTuber. As much as that sucks, right? It will eventually happen. Of course, it sucks. Of course, but like, we all know this will happen, right? It's terrible, but it'll happen, right? It will. And then the question becomes, what will you do?
completely different. They don't explain why. So using that as an argument is crazy. Well, if it's so crazy, explain why it's so different. You guys are coming in here being rude and think you're actually bugging me. Yes, look at the unbothered person locking the replies. Well, there you go. And like I just pointed out, of course they're mad. They're a low follower artist slash rigger, and they them are clearly threatened by the idea of a free alternative using AI. Because they can virtue signal all they want about this stuff, they can't stop the inevitable and the threats of it, and they're scared, they're mad, and they're trying to make some sort of a wedge between what they're mad about when it involves the Leaflet.
I mean, of course they're threatened. Because there's a harsh truth here to be told. A lot of these people aren't, how do you say this? Built in the way that they say they are, right? The truth of the matter is, a lot of these artists are, as harsh as it sounds, kind of replaceable, right? They are replaceable, right? Because once the machine is better, what are you gonna do? A lot of these like low end artists, right? They're threatened by it. That is just the truth. Well, what are you gonna do about it?
Versus what they support with Neurosama. They can't explain it, but don't worry, other people are going to, well, do the same. So Leaflet would quote them saying, I'm so sorry, Neuro. they hate you. And this user says, the deflection is so pathetic. Your entire grift is so pathetic.
Ah, yes, the grift. Haven't we heard that before? Yes, the grift. The grift of what exactly? What is she grifting to? Like, what is she grifting to? AI bros? How does that work? Is she grifting? Is she trying to fight for the approval of the AI? Is she trying to make money through AI? Like, is like Grok going to pay her, or Chat GPT, or Claude, or whatever?
I'm sorry. Her grift? She is providing this program for free. This is the worst grift I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a grift that involves providing free programs to people. The world's worst grift. And then I look at these.
Careful, guys. You're gonna. Oh, and this person has a Twitch. Let me guess. Okay, let me guess. There's nothing on there. This person isn't streaming. 10K posts, by the way. Um, 10K posts, almost 11K posts. Joined February. This person has done almost 11K posts since February. This isn't unemployment. This is essentially the equivalent of somebody who has lived off of taxpayer money for 20 years. Type of energy. I've been on Twitter, okay? I've been on Twitter since. Let's check this real quick. How long have I been on Twitter, okay? How long? Since 2017, okay? I've 7K posts. Okay? This bitch, if it is a bitch, is out here in the wait, says joint February, right? March, April, May, June. We're now mid-July. Since mid-July, this bitch has dropped 10K posts. It's over. Unemployment. It's over. Like, there's no way, bro. Jeez.
People who are doing this stuff and who are so mad about it, and another account branding themselves with someone they hate. Their pinned tweet is a clip from a video I made where I covered their tweet for 30 seconds in a much longer video from weeks ago. These people are very, very sad. And then I look at their Twitch account that they're promoting now, and they don't even use a VTuber model, right? Like, you don't even have skin in this game.
You have no skin in the game, true. You're not using a VTuber model. Is this even a woman? Right, because there's girl in there. Is this a girl? And if it is a girl, I can already tell this person is mentally ill, because how the fuck can you sit here and have 10K posts, almost 11K posts, in a few months?
I don't know why you're so mad about it. But let's move on to the next person saying being anti-AI is fine, but why would any up-and-coming VTuber want to use an artist if all they do is rage and attack anyone who says AI is fine or that they like this program? If using AI as a VTuber is wrong, then what about Neurosima, the AI VTuber? I've never seen rage over that. And of course, you can look at some of the responses. Like I said, this interaction is golden. No one can explain it without telling someone to off themselves because they have no real counter-argument. And then you can see people trying to say that, well, of course, Leaflet is jealous. That was in the now deleted, or I guess suspended account, tweet deleted as a result, where they say jealous, I love Neuro and wish for their continued success. I'm just pointing out that all of you have inconsistent logic, which you proved just now. Even if you can't see it, everyone outside your little bubble can. Neuro is different and creative. And of course, Leaflet has not stopped. I know her reign of terror has continued, where she is providing even more related content, really capitalizing on this situation, as she should. If all of these wackadoos want to make her trend nonstop, well, the right decision is to continue producing more tools for people to use, to get their foot in the game when it comes to creating content.
I actually saw another person, right? I saw another person do something, right? I haven't exactly looked at it, but I saw another person just like straight up dropping some tremendous thing here, right? Some tremendous sheet, right? It's kind of fucking great, right? It's really good, honestly. I like it a lot, right? It is really damn interesting to see that, right? There's multiple people coming out and providing something, which is very interesting. Yeah. YouTubing will now become very accessible. Whether that's a good thing or not, that's a different question. Honestly, I have no idea. We'll have to see.
And being a VTuber. And if people want to be really mad about this and threaten someone's life and say all these abhorrent and hypocritical things, well, that only helps her campaign even more. The people who are mad about AI will always be leaflets, not going to change their opinion most likely. But for the people who have an open mind about the concept, or can at least appreciate what she's doing, even if they don't really like AI, she's just working to expose the people who are so mad about this and generating goodwill on her side by simply existing and providing these tools. But anyways, I mean, that is the situation. Again, no actual beef here. I think what she's doing is very interesting, and I think something a lot of people have and will take advantage of, and it's making the virtue signalers and the very angry
Well, I hope this does actually become something really nice and big, right? Honestly, I do hope so, because I don't like these people, and I hope they get mad when when it finally happens, right? I hope they actually, in fact, get mad when this happens, right? I really do hope so. This will be great for all of us.
VTuber artists and riggers who have had a vice grip on the scene for so long very mad because they're having competition. And as we've seen, some people are even responding to this while mad about it and reducing their prices because they understand that what she's doing is a threat to what the status quo has been in the VTubing scene. And I think ultimately that's a good thing. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please.
Yeah, that's the end of the video. At the end of the day, I think this will obviously, I think this will not be like the major thingy, right, for the future. I don't think so. I don't think it will, right? Of course, I could be wrong, right? But I don't think it will be the major thingy. However, I think it will make people that don't have a model, it will help them greatly. And I also think there is a chance it might kill off those who actually do not want to do their job, right? There is a chance it might kill off those that actually refuse to do the work, that refuse to do their job. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please consider liking, subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Well, we'll see how bad it can really go for those people, huh?